Hey everybody, I'm Aaron and welcome. Today, I'm joined by a couple of colleagues and we're going to talk about
AI
AI.
and monitoring.
why monitoring.
Right.
Of course.
Of course.
Goes without saying.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to open this up first. Let's do introductions. I'm Aaron. A lot of you out there know exactly who I am, but who are you?
My name is Ryan Knapp. I'm the sales manager here at Nagios.
My name is Nathan Furtado. I'm the director of marketing here at Nagios.
What more could you want? So, Ryan,
Aaron.
who cares? AI monitoring. What's the deal?
What a question. Everyone cares to an extent, but what does it mean? And I think hopefully today, over the next couple of minutes, we can kind of define what AI means to Nagios, what we're hoping for, and kind of what we're seeing and hearing in the marketplace when it comes to feedback from our customers.
Nathan, what do you think?
I think it's a great idea. I think it's also a great way for us to show some of the things that we're already doing. And maybe if our viewers are lucky enough, we might be able to talk about some things that are upcoming for 2024 as well.
Well, I would kind of like to dive into that because we do have some new features coming to Log Server, and we have incorporated some generalized AI on that. I think, what is it? It's made, do I dare say other names, like what the back end looks like? I don't know about that. You may want to dial in for more, but go ahead.
I think taking a step back, Aaron, let's first kind of talk about what AI means to us. I mean, we've been in this space a long time, and I think you brought it up the other day, but this used to be called machine learning to an extent, and now that seems like a subset of AI. Should we speak to kind of where we define our AI right now and kind of what we hear in the marketplace? And I think, not to make broad points, but I think something we can say is when we talk AI, we're not talking Terminator, Skynet, things of that nature. We just are looking for better ways, more efficient ways to leverage Nagios, making it easier for our customers to use. Would that be a correct assumption?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. And I also would like to make it clear, like, we're not developing our own.
Correct. Yeah. That is a
Right.
good specification.
But I think the integration is really, really important. And I think we've just started to scratch the surface on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it really comes down to, like, in one product, we have Log Server, right? So Log Server, fantastic product. You can send all of your logs there. You can do reporting on it, and you can do ad hoc queries with it. But I think one of the challenges with that product is that you have to know how to write what's called a Lucene query. And not everybody...
I don't know what the word Lucene was until you just said it.
I was about to say bless you, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a query language that works with the back end for Log Server, and it has a very specific syntax, very specific rules about how you need to write it in order to get useful information from the tool.
Sure.
So one of the things that we've done is we have connected an AI backend to Log Server so that you can use what for better or worse. I mean, Nathan, I know that you have some thoughts about what natural language queries and natural language.
Yeah.
You have some issues around that, but we're trying to hook that up. So what's your deal with natural language?
What is the natural language? I feel like it's such a loaded term, but I know that this is also something that has been used traditionally in industry already.
Yeah.
Something that people are kind of used to, but I really think in terms of that terminology, how far can we kind of push what the natural language is, and how can we make that as inclusive to our users as possible?
Sure.
We are, as the industry is, fairly English-centric in a lot of ways. And we've supported, a lot of languages in the interface for the solutions for a long time. And yet, at this point, that is an excellent point. We are talking about English queries, English-based queries, even though we know that syslog, which is a key component, that can be, you can have that in multiple languages. So I appreciate that this is a first step for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to see it include support for additional language.
Yeah, and in the sneak preview your team offered up earlier this week, from something that stood out to me just kind of in the sales perspective is going to be how much easier the product is going to be to use. Something I've noticed in our research is that we're kind of in a wave of veteran IT professionals moving out of the profession, bringing in the new generation. And I think with the strides we've made quickly in this AI implementation is just going to exponentially be beneficial to our new customers, our new people entering the space, and just bringing a level of ease of use that really hasn't been there when it comes to writing queries.
And I think, like the excitement about this for younger people getting into the profession, I think it's two things, right? On the one hand, you don't have to get in and like learn another thing, right? Especially like young people getting into the profession, there is so much information to consume to be effective in this line of work. And so it's great from that perspective that you can write, you say, I want to see 404 errors. And you don't have to write a query. You just tell it what you want to see, and there it is.
In plain English.
And hopefully any number of other languages when we get to that point. But then I think just the excitement of that connection.
100%.
Right? And being able to connect the solutions to an AI backend and what that can do for us.
So let me just ask you like a layup question here, but how much time does this save like our users in order to give credible, tangible information back to someone else within their organization?
Can I quantify it, or can I say so much?
You can say so much. You can tell me it's taken things down from like hours to minutes. It's taken something down from days to hours. Like I just want to know, like,
I think
how powerful is this tool for an end user?
So it takes like possibly weeks or months of training down to seconds.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, okay, I know that I want to search these things or this compound thing, right? I need to find website 404 errors within this time frame, or I need to find Windows failed logins within this time frame in this subnet, right? And then how do you chain those together, and what are you asking for? This thing knows what the Windows event ID you're looking for is. So you can just put in Windows failed logins, and it knows what column to look in. It knows what the Windows event ID is. It's incredible. Now, obviously, everybody as a professional, they are going to want to know all of those things. But for one, if you don't, and you just know what you need to look for, you're there immediately. You don't need to look up event IDs. You don't need to look up how to write a Lucene query. You can simply ask the tool for what you want to see. And then you can turn that into a report.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to repeat that. You don't have to write it down. You don't have to anything with the things that are available in the solution already. You can just take this additional capability and turn it into more of what you already need.
Yeah, and I really think, to try to sum up what you just said, it takes a moderate to advanced experience down to a novice experience when looking for queries within Log Server. I think this opens us up to a whole new market of mom and pop shops that maybe don't have the bandwidth to set up Log Server. They were just getting their needs met with Nagios XI. We've just made querying logs accessible to anyone in the world that can put a coherent sentence together. How big that is I'm excited to see where we go. Me being the dumb sales guy, I can now look for logs, something I couldn't do last week. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. I'm very excited to demo it to our customers. And I'm very excited to see where your team develops this too.
And I think that, what you're talking about in terms of like being new
Mm-hmm.
and how it opens up the scope, I think at every level for, in smaller organizations where you've got typically very overworked IT staff and infrastructure people, this takes away a whole chunk of learning that maybe they wanted to do because people are in this business because they're excited and they're interested, but you don't have to right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then for larger organizations, as we onboard the next generation of infrastructure and monitoring professionals, this just gets you across and gets you effective so much more quickly. Yeah.
I think the cool thing from a marketing perspective is that whenever we add something like this to the new product, my first take is to just roll my eyes, is to just, yeah, of course, like we Googled what's cool and we saw AI and we went, hit the button, let's figure this out. But I think what's really awesome about kind of the flip side of where we've approached it and where, I'm not going to name names, but some of our competitors have just kind of slapped the sticker on, is that there's real purpose here with this. Like we've really thought out what the solution could mean and how much time it can save. And on the other end of it as well, we've also thought about the security that's involved and making sure that, you know, we're playing ourselves up to best practices. Could you also just maybe chat a little bit about how, you know, AI is awesome, but what are some of the best practices that we've kind of put in place to make sure that everything is still log server secure?
Absolutely. Well, and I think, you know, I want to address that. I want to talk about Ryan's question about AI and ML. But when it comes to the security, I think organizations have like a super valid concern about security. What are you giving to the back end, to the AI back end, right? And they're like any number of very large, very security savvy organizations have said, no, you can't do it. And so that was an important consideration as we were putting this together. So the security question is critical. And there are any number of organizations that have laid down the law that you are not to interact with AI because people were putting proprietary information into the query fields, right? So that's not going to be a good thing. So we are aware of that. We took care of that. Really what we're putting in is we have designed an interaction with the AI backend that takes natural language for, I would like to find Windows failed logins. I would like to find SSH, logins. I'd like to find this information. So none of what we're passing is proprietary. And what we're getting back is a Lucene query, right? So we're sending, this is what I want to say, this is what I want to see, and then we're getting that information back in a clean Lucene query. Yeah. So, and then like machine learning, what's the difference between AI and machine learning?
Marketing,
right? There's the math is kind of the same underneath the hood. But there are differences. I think, the marketing is, well, how marketers are,
Put a spin on it.
So it would be, I've been asked at functions, at events, and by the way, would you ask us questions? Tell us what you want to see in terms of AI and machine learning and how we're going to connect it into the products. We get people, I've been approached where they say, well, I would like a machine learning thing that can figure out, because like my machines run hard all night, crunching numbers. And then during the business day, they're actually a little less busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know, I want the machine learning to tell me if things are normal, if things aren't. Like one of the things I want to say is that Nagios is already set up to be connected to machine learning.
Of course.
Right? So like if you have an ML system and you want to set stuff up for connections there, that's totally fine. Are we going to, again, we're not going to build an ML,
No.
we're not going to build an AI, but those connections exist. It would be really interesting to know what people are specifically looking for out there on those.
Yeah, and something I've been thinking as we've had this conversation is something that comes up in sales often, especially with log server compliance.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, looking at a SOX report, looking at a HIPAA report, looking at whatever report you have to get back, while Nagios Log Server does not make you compliant by having the solution, in taking those logs, being able to get the queries you're most interested to fill out your reports, time saving all day.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to come up with information from another department
Mm-hmm.
and it is completely different information than the infrastructure stuff that you're used to writing queries for and understanding. I think natural language querying is fantastic.
Yeah, super excited with this input.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're not going to take all day.
Yeah.
these are pretty quick chats, and we've got more coming. So any last thoughts?
We'd love to hear from the community. Any questions, topics, themes you'd like us to discuss, please let us know.
We also have a wealth of resources for you guys to be able to take use of. I would say our most recent webinar was on AI best practices and how Nagios is already using some AI and ML-like tools within our structure work already. So you can check out nagios.com/webinars and see how AI is already being used. But super excited for the future and what it holds with Log Server now that we have this new integration.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, come back for more episodes. We'll see you there.
Happy monitoring.